Thank you so much for joining us for this episode of Leading Change. My name is Ema Roloff, and I've got Jill with me today. And we're going to be talking about the insurance industry in general and maybe some of Jill's pet peeves when it comes to how we select technology. But Jill, can you give everybody an introduction before we get going?
Sure. Jill Trimmel. I've been in the P&C industry for a couple decades and started as an adjuster in the field. And my last career role was senior vice president at an international carrier. And I've also served on the vendor side within our industry, most recently through starting two professional services companies within the property realm of claims.
Thank you so much for joining me. And again, you have both sides of the equation on the vendor and the carrier side. So I'm interested to hear, I teased this idea that we were going to start by talking through some of your pet peeves. But what is one of your pet peeves within the insurance industry and how we buy technology?
Well, it started at the onset. I had a great experience working and starting at Progressive and really seeing a productive methodology and transformation mindset around implementing new technology to create efficiencies and gain accurate outcomes. And then I went to a smaller carrier where we were implementing an enterprise solution and beginning to see the give and take, or the unwilling to give on process change during the implementation of technology was really frustrating to me, because I understood that if you implement technology and you don't change your human processes, it's you won't have the outcome that you're desiring, or you have no hopes of reaching the optimal outcome of what the software, the technology solution can provide.
How do we start to move beyond this? Because obviously this is something that's near and dear to my heart as well. And I talk a lot about how transformation needs to be more than just strictly technology focused and kind of like falling in line with what we see as industry norms. So what are some suggestions that you have for kind of breaking out of that mindset?
Well, I think when you look at the technology that's available, you need to step back and identify what you're trying to solve. By clearly defining that, then once you choose or narrow down the technology that you're going to implement to solve those problems or to gain efficiencies, maybe it's not a problem you currently have, but you know you can gain something, that you really need to examine it from a logistics standpoint and work backwards. And as you work backwards, dissolve processes that don't fit within the new way that you can do things, and be open to inviting different people within your organization. The leaders may not have the best insight on the changes that need to be made to optimize the implementation. Do you know what I'm saying with that, Emma? Like, I think some organizations forget to go down to the task-driven people and gain their insight on how reprocessing could best serve the organization.
Again, hopefully we're including people on the front end of the process in our process design. But one of the things that we were talking about is also how to engage your team long-term after an implementation to make sure that you're continuing to hit the mark and maybe course correct if you miss that step on the front end. So what are some suggestions that you have in terms of kind of that post-implementation communication and some tools that you've used to manage that in the past?
Sure. So I think, again, engaging at the onset is important, because you get that buy-in and you clearly understand their expectations and the ability to level set those expectations, which is a huge part of any change transformation period within organizations. After implementation, or even during, because I think that we all know within this industry, a lot of times the implementation period is expanded much farther than what was originally anticipated. And you need to pulse survey your employees, and you need to understand what's working and what's not working and what their satisfaction rate is on the implementation and the new processes. By continuously engaging your employees and focusing on that employee experience index, you'll drive the transformation and adaptation to the transformation naturally, because you'll know what your pain points are and you can address them proactively or even reactively, as opposed to not addressing them at all, which is what, in my opinion, many organizations do. One software that I've implemented in the past is Customerville, which really allows you to take the employee and customer feedback and granulize it to your pain points, and then identify areas that you need to focus your change transformation techniques on.
Well, thank you so much for sitting down with me, Jill. And it's especially exciting being Women's History Month. All of my interviews are going to be tied to women founders. So I appreciate you sitting down. If you're not already, make sure you make your way over to Jill's LinkedIn and give her a follow. And thank you for joining us, and have a wonderful day, everyone. Thank you so much for joining me for this episode of Leading Change. If you liked what you saw, be sure to subscribe and come back weekly for more expert interviews on digital transformation, change management, and emerging technologies.